My wife handed me fake divorce papers on our anniversary. It's just a joke, to see if you'd fight for us. I read them and said, these actually look good. Then I signed real ones the next day. Her breakdown when she realized she manifested her own divorce. I am currently sitting in my home office with the door locked, a glass of scotch in my hand, and a sense of relief I haven't felt in 5 years. Downstairs, my wife, well, soon-to-be ex-wife, is screaming into her phone to her mother about how I ruined her life. The irony is thick enough to choke on. She's the one who brought the papers to the table. I just signed them. I, 48M, have been married to Amelia, 36F, for 7 years. I know, the age gap. When we met, I was 41 and she was 29. She was vibrant, fun, and seemed to have a zest for life that I needed after years of building my architectural firm. I was established. She was an interior designer trying to make her mark. It seemed like a good match. But over the last 2 years, Amelia has become obsessed with relationship tests. I think it comes from the toxic side of social media she consumes. Those videos that tell women, if he doesn't chase you, he doesn't love you. Or create a crisis to see if he steps up. It started small. She would start an argument right before a big business trip to see if I would prioritize her. Over my flight, I missed a flight once. I learned my lesson and never did it again. Then she would block me on text for a day to see if I would come home early to check on her. I'm a grown man. I run a firm with 40 employees. I deal with structural integrity, million-dollar budgets, and actual crises. I don't have the bandwidth for high school mind games. I told her this repeatedly. Amelia, I love you. I provide for us. I am faithful, but I will not jump through hoops to prove I exist. She would always pout and say I was emotionally unavailable. Yesterday was our 7th anniversary. I had reservations at the best steakhouse in the city. I bought her a diamond tennis bracelet she had been eyeing for months. I was ready to have a nice, peaceful evening. We sat down. We ordered drinks. I gave her the bracelet. She put it on, smiled, and said, "It's beautiful." Then her face changed. She reached into her oversized purse and pulled out a manila envelope. She slid it across the white tablecloth. "I can't do this anymore, Mark," she said, her voice trembling. I later realized the tremble was acting. I want a divorce. My stomach dropped. For a second I felt that genuine gut-wrenching heartbreak. "What?" "Open it," she whispered. I opened the envelope. Inside was a legal-looking document titled Petition for Dissolution of Marriage. I put my reading glasses on. I started to read. It was surprisingly fair. It listed a 50-50 split of our liquid assets. It stated she would keep her car, which I pay for, and I would keep the house, which I owned before the marriage, though she's on the deed now. It waived spousal support. I read it twice. "You want to waive alimony?" I asked, confused. She was watching me closely, her eyes wide. She was waiting for the explosion. She was waiting for me to tear the papers in half, throw the table over, and declare my undying love. She wanted the scene from The Notebook. Instead, my brain switched into business mode, cold clarity, as I call it. If she wanted to leave, why would I force her to stay? And if these were her terms, no alimony, clean break, this was actually a better deal than I would get in a contested court battle. I looked up at her. I didn't cry, I didn't beg. "Okay," I said. She blinked. "Okay? These terms actually look good," I said. "I agree." I reached for my pen inside my jacket pocket. That's when she panicked. She snatched the papers back across the table so fast she knocked over her wine glass. Cabernet soaked the white tablecloth. "It's a prank," she shrieked. "Oh my God, Mark, it's a joke." I stared at the spreading wine stain. "A joke?" "Yes, to see if you'd fight for us." She was laughing nervously now, looking around at the other diners who were staring. "You were supposed to rip them up. You were supposed to tell me you'd never let me go." I looked at her. Really looked at her. I saw a 36-year-old woman playing games that a teenager would find immature. I saw the disrespect for my time, my emotions, and our marriage. She was willing to simulate the death of our relationship for an ego boost. Something inside me snapped. It wasn't a loud snap. It was the quiet sound of a bridge collapsing. "You put divorce on the table, Amelia," I said, standing up. "I'm accepting the offer." "Mark, stop. Sit down." She was grabbing my arm. "It's fake. I downloaded the template from the internet. It's not real." "The sentiment was real," I said. "You wanted to test me? You got your result. I failed the test. I don't want to fight for someone who thinks divorce is a punchline. I took the tennis bracelet off her wrist. She was too stunned to stop me and put it back in my pocket. I'll take the check, I told the waiter on my way out. She's staying. I went to a hotel last night. I didn't answer her 50 calls. I didn't answer the texts that ranged from "I'm sorry" to "you're a narcissist." This morning I called my lawyer, David. I told him exactly what happened. David laughed for a solid minute, then got serious. If she handed you a draft, even a fake one that waived alimony, that shows intent, David said. We can use that. We're drawing up real papers today, mirroring the terms she presented, but stricter. I went home an hour ago to get my clothes. She was there, eyes puffy, waiting for the makeup sex phase of her twisted game. I handed her the real papers. I had David draft these up. They match the ones you gave me at dinner. 50-50 split, no alimony, I keep the house, I buy you out of your share of the equity. Sign them. She threw them on the floor. I'm not signing that. I don't want a divorce. Then you shouldn't have asked for one, I said. You manifested this, Amelia. You wanted a reaction? This is the reaction. I'm moving into the guest room until the hearing. I'm not leaving my house. It's my asset. She can leave if she's uncomfortable. I'm done. I'm exhausted, and honestly, I'm excited to have a quiet house again. Update 1. It has been 4 days since the anniversary prank. The house is a war zone. Amelia has moved from shock to full-blown offensive maneuvers. Since she realized I'm not punishing her but actually leaving her, she has unleashed the flying monkeys. First, it was her best friend, Fiona. Fiona is single, bitter, and the one who likely encouraged this test. She cornered me in the driveway as I was leaving for work. You are a monster, Fiona spat. She made a mistake, a joke, and you're throwing away 7 years? You clearly never loved her. I rolled down my window. Fiona, if you handed your boss a resignation letter as a joke to see if he'd beg you to stay, and he accepted it, whose fault is that? That's different. Marriage is about love. Marriage is a legal contract, I said, and she breached it. Get off my driveway or I'm calling the police for trespassing. Then came the parents. Her mother called me, weeping. Mark, she's devastated. She can't eat. She's throwing up. You have to stop this. You're being cruel. I respect her parents. They are good people, so I told them the truth. Barbara, she handed me divorce papers on our anniversary. She humiliated me in public. This wasn't a one-time thing. It was the finale of 2 years of emotional manipulation. I am not cruel. I am done. But she waives alimony in that joke, Barbara cried. She needs support. She can't survive on her design income. Then she shouldn't have written no alimony in her joke papers, I said. She set the terms. I'm just following her lead. Inside the house, Amelia is trying a new tactic, the perfect wife routine. I come home and dinner is cooked. The house is spotless. She's wearing the lingerie I bought her 3 years ago. It's pathetic. It makes me sick. Because she's only doing it because she's terrified of losing her lifestyle, not because she respects me. Last night, she tried to come into the guest room. Mark, please, she whispered, standing in the doorway. Let me make it up to you. I love you. I didn't look up from my book. Amelia, you are obstructing the doorway. Close it from the other side. I'm not signing those papers, she hissed, her mask slipping. I'm going to get a lawyer, and I'm going to take half the business. And I'm going to get alimony. You'll see. The judge will laugh at your joke defense. Good, I said. Get a lawyer. It will cost you money you don't have. And by the way, I canceled your credit cards this morning. Since we are separating, I'm not obligated to fund your discretionary spending. She turned pale. You what? Joint account is frozen. Credit cards are canceled. You have your personal checking account. Good luck. She screamed and slammed the door. I slept like a baby. Update 2. Things have gotten legal and ugly. Amelia hired a lawyer. Not a good one, because she can't afford the retainer for the sharks without my credit cards. She hired a strip mall guy who probably does more DUIs than divorces. They filed a response. She is asking for $6,000 a month in alimony. 50% of my architectural firm's value. The house. David, my lawyer, read it and chuckled. She's dreaming. The firm is premarital property. The house is premarital property. She's entitled to half the appreciation of the house value during the marriage and half of our savings. That's it. But here's where the joke papers come in handy. In our state, conduct matters for asset distribution if it shows malicious intent or waste of marital assets. David argued that her presenting the papers, even as a prank, was a formal declaration of intent to dissolve the marriage. But more importantly, we found the search history on the shared iPad she forgot to log out of. She hadn't just downloaded a template. She had been Googling how to scare husband into appreciation, divorce prank on husband, and this is the kicker. What happens to assets if I divorce him after 10 years for 7 years? She was researching the timeline. In our state, 10 years is considered a long-term marriage where indefinite alimony is more likely. We are at 7 years. I showed the search history to David. This isn't just a prank, I said. She was market testing the divorce. She wanted to see if I would fight, sure. But she was also researching her exit strategy. We have a mediation session scheduled for next week. In the meantime, living together is hell. She has stopped the perfect wife act and moved on to sabotage. She accidentally shrank 3 of my custom suits in the wash. I didn't yell. I just took photos of the ruined suits. I sent the invoice for replacements, $4,500, to her lawyer, stating that this amount will be deducted from her eventual settlement share as destruction of marital property. She turned off the Wi-Fi while I was on a Zoom call with a client. I installed a commercial-grade lock on the server closet in my office. She tried to bring a guy home. This was 2 nights ago. I was in the kitchen getting water. She walked in with some guy who looked like a personal trainer. "We're going upstairs," she announced, looking at me with a smirk. "Since we're separated." I looked at the guy. "Hey man, just so you know, I own this house. There are cameras in the hallway, and if you go upstairs, you are trespassing in a hostile domestic dispute. Her husband, me, is currently documenting everything for court." The guy looked at her, then at me. "Whoa, you didn't say you lived with your husband." He turned around and walked out. Amelia threw a vase at the wall. "You're ruining my life." "You ruined it," I said, stepping over the shattered glass. "Clean that up, or I'll deduct the cost of a cleaning service from your settlement too." Final update. The divorce is finalized. It took 6 months, but it is done. The mediation was the turning point. We sat in a conference room, me, David, Amelia, and her strip mall lawyer. She looked terrible. The stress of the last few months, plus the lack of access to my wallet for her spa treatments, had taken a toll. Her lawyer started with the big demands. "We want spousal support. She has grown accustomed to a certain lifestyle." David slid a piece of paper across the table. It was a printout of the fake divorce papers she handed me at the restaurant. "Your client presented these terms voluntarily on date," David said. "She waived alimony in her own draft. This demonstrates she believes she was capable of self-support." "That was a joke," she shouted. "It was a prank." "We also have her search history," David continued, sliding the iPad logs over. "Researching alimony timelines, researching asset division. This wasn't a joke, Amelia. It was a rehearsal, and when Mark called your bluff, you panicked." Then David dropped the hammer. "Mark is willing to offer a lump sum buyout of the home equity appreciation, $150,000. Take it and walk away today. If you go to trial, we will introduce the prank as emotional abuse. We will introduce the destruction of property, the suits, and we will drag this out until you are bankrupt. Mark has the resources to fight for 5 years. Do you?" Amelia looked at her lawyer. He whispered something to her. "Probably. Take the money." She started crying. Not the fake tears from the anniversary, real, ugly tears of regret. "I just wanted you to care," she sobbed. "I just wanted to feel important." "I did care," I said quietly. "I bought you a diamond bracelet. I took you to dinner. I paid for your car, your clothes, your life. But that wasn't enough. You wanted drama. You wanted a soap opera." I stood up. "The offer is on the table for 10 minutes. I'm going to get a coffee." When I came back, she had signed. The aftermath. She moved out 3 weeks ago. She's renting a small apartment in a less desirable part of town. She had to sell her luxury SUV because she couldn't afford the payments and insurance on her own. She's driving a used Honda now. I heard from a mutual friend that she's telling people I blindsided her, that I'm a cold-hearted narcissist who can't take a joke. But here's the interesting part. Her friend group, the ones who egged her on, they've dropped her. Apparently, a 36-year-old divorcee with a Honda and no rich husband isn't as fun to invite to brunch. Without my money, she can't keep up with them. I kept the house. I had it deep cleaned. I replaced the furniture she picked out. I'm dating again, but the rules have changed. On the first date, I tell them, I am a straightforward man. I don't play mind games. I don't do tests. If you need to create a crisis to feel loved, I am not the man for you. Some women find that intimidating. Good. That filters them out. I met a woman named Elena recently. She's 42. She's a lawyer. When I told her the story of the divorce papers, she didn't laugh. She looked horrified. That is the most childish thing I have ever heard, Elena said. Who risks a marriage for a TikTok trend? Exactly. I'm sitting here in my quiet living room. No screaming, no tests, no walking on eggshells wondering if I'm going to fail some secret exam I didn't study for. Amelia wanted to see if I would fight for us. I did fight. I fought for my peace, and I won. Lesson for the guys: when a woman tells you she wants to leave, believe her. Even if she says she's joking, open the door and hold it open until she's gone. You can't build a life with someone who keeps threatening to tear it down. Manifestation is real, folks. Be careful what you ask for. My wife said at the pool party, his dad bod is why I never post him. While grabbing her ex's abs, I said, post this instead. Then did a backflip into the pool and came up wearing single life swim trunks. Her ex's wife saw everything. I, 34M, am currently sitting in the cab of my F-250, eating a double cheeseburger with bacon and watching my phone vibrate itself off the dashboard. If you are reading this, you might have seen the video. It's the one titled Blue Collar Belly Flop of Justice that is currently making the rounds on local Facebook groups. If you haven't seen it, buckle up. I'm going to tell you how a 4th of July pool party turned into the Independence Day of my marriage. First, let's get the specs out of the way. I'm a commercial electrician. I spend my days hauling heavy conduit, climbing scaffolding, and wrestling with cables thick enough to tow a tank. I'm 6'1", 245 pounds. Do I have a six-pack? No. I have a keg. I like beer. I like ribs. But I'm built like a chest freezer, functional, sturdy, and full of meat. If you need a fridge carried up 3 flights of stairs alone, I'm your guy. If you need an Instagram model, look elsewhere. My wife, Qley, 30F, is different. She works in social media coordination, which mostly involves posting photos of her latte art and using words like curated and aesthetic. Over the last year, she's become obsessed with appearances. Everything in our house has to be white, beige, or sad gray. She's constantly nagging me to lean out, try keto, or wear loafers. I don't wear loafers. I wear boots. We've been married 4 years. The mask started slipping about 6 months ago. She became secretive with her phone, started taking long walks to clear her head, and stopped posting photos of us together. I'm not stupid. I knew the disrespect was brewing, but I'm a tradesman. I don't act on feelings. I act on blueprints. I needed proof before I started demolition. Yesterday, Qley insisted we go to a 4th of July pool party. It's just Jenny from my yoga class hosting, she lied. It's gonna be chill. Please, Mark, I need you to network. Just wear something nice and don't embarrass me with your whole vibe. I didn't want to go. I wanted to grill a brisket and watch baseball. But she gave me the supportive husband guilt trip, so I caved. Now here is the serendipitous part. The universe looking out for me. I'm the best man for my buddy's wedding next month. As a gag gift for his bachelor party in Vegas, I bought a pair of custom swim trunks. They are neon electric blue, radioactive blue, and they have single life printed in massive, bold white block letters across the front and back. I was running late getting dressed, and thanks to Chloe's refusal to do laundry, it ruins her manicure, I had 0 clean underwear. So I improvised. I threw the neon gag trunks on underneath my respectable navy blue board shorts. I figured, who cares? I'm not swimming. I'm gonna stand by the cooler, drink a light beer, and leave in an hour. We pulled up to the house. It wasn't Jenny from Yoga's house. It was a McMansion in the richest part of town. Columns, fountains, rented Ferraris in the driveway. The backyard looked like a casting call for a reality show about people who are allergic to manual labor. Veneers, spray tans, and dudes wearing sunglasses that cost more than my first truck. We walked in, and Qley immediately transformed. She arched her back, sucked in her stomach, and put on her influencer voice. 3 octaves higher than normal. "Oh my God, hi everyone," she squealed. I wandered off to find the bar. I grabbed a beer and found a spot in the shade, observing the wildlife. That's when I saw him. Standing by the diving board was a guy I recognized from an old photo album I found in Qley's parents' basement years ago. Let's call him Kyle. Kyle is Qley's one that got away. The college ex-boyfriend. The personal trainer who broke her heart because he wouldn't commit. She told me he moved to LA 5 years ago. Apparently, he was back. He looked like he was manufactured in a factory that makes Ken dolls but forgot to install the brain. 8-pack abs, 0 body hair, teeth so white they were a traffic hazard. I watched Qley. She wasn't surprised. She made a beeline for him. She didn't introduce me. She didn't even look back. She walked right up to Kyle, and her body language shifted from wife to single girl on the prowl instantly, touching his arm, laughing too hard, flipping her hair. I stayed put. I wanted to see where this went. I'm a patient man. I waited for the concrete to set. About an hour in, I was on my 3rd beer, leaning against a pillar, invisible to my wife. She was standing in a circle by the pool edge with Kyle, 2 other women who looked like Qley clones, the clones, and a few random dudes. I drifted closer, acting like I was looking for a trash can. Kyle was shirtless, obviously, flexing every time a breeze hit him. "You look incredible, Kyle," one of the clones said. "What is your routine?" "Oh, you know," Kyle said, flexing a pec. "Clean eating, 2-a-days, no excuses. It's a lifestyle." Qley laughed, and then she did it. She reached out and actually grabbed Kyle's abs. Her hand lingered. It wasn't a friendly tap. It was a caress. "Right?" Qley said, loud enough for the whole patio to hear. "I keep telling Mark he needs to get on your program, but he loves his burgers too much." She rolled her eyes dramatically. "Honestly, his dad bod is why I never post him on my main feed. It ruins the aesthetic. I mean, look at this." She slapped Kyle's stomach again. "This is what a man should look like. Sometimes I have to close my eyes and pretend, you know?" The circle laughed. Kyle smirked, clearly loving the ego stroke. "Hey babe, don't be too hard on him," Kyle said with 0 sincerity. "Not everyone is built for performance." The disrespect was so palpable I could taste it. It tasted like pennies. She just told a circle of strangers she pretends I'm her ex to get through the night. But here is what Qley didn't notice. Sitting on a lounge chair about 10 feet behind Kyle was a woman. She was wearing a massive sun hat, reading a Kindle, and sipping a very expensive-looking drink. She looked fierce. She looked like she owned the deed to the McMansion. This was Tiffany. I didn't know her name then, but I know it now. Tiffany is Kyle's wife, and Tiffany was watching the whole thing over the top of her sunglasses. The pieces clicked. Qley thought Kyle was single. Kyle was letting Qley think he was single. Tiffany was gathering evidence. And me? I was the punchline. Not today. I finished my beer in one long swallow. I crushed the can. The crunch made a few people turn. I walked right into the center of the circle. Qley jumped. She looked guilty for a split second, then annoyed. "Mark," she snapped. "We were just talking about fitness. Don't be weird." I smiled. It was the smile I give when a client tries to tell me they can wire a panel themselves. Fitness, right? Discussing the aesthetic. I looked at Kyle. "Nice abs, man. Very symmetrical." Kyle puffed up. "Thanks, bro. Takes dedication." "I bet," I said. I looked at Qley. "So I ruined the feed, huh? Dad bod is a problem? You have to pretend?" "Oh my God, Mark, it was a joke," she huffed, crossing her arms. "Don't be so sensitive. Take a picture of us, will you? The lighting is perfect." She leaned into Kyle, putting her hand on his chest again. "Just get the abs in the frame." I pulled out my phone, but I didn't open the camera. "You know what?" I said, my voice carrying. "I have a better idea. You want content? Let's give them content." "What are you doing?" Qley asked, her voice pitching up. I reached down to the waistband of my navy blue board shorts. "You said I'm not single material because of the bod," I said, unbuttoning the fly. "But I think I've been wearing the wrong uniform." I dropped the board shorts. There, in all their neon blue glory, were the single life trunks. They were tight. They were bright. And the words were impossible to miss. The circle went silent. Qley's jaw dropped. "I think these fit the aesthetic better," I said, "since you're basically dating Kyle here." "Mark," she shrieked. "Put your pants on. You're insane." "Post this instead," I yelled. I turned around, gave my butt a little shake so they could read the single life on the back, and then I ran. I hit the edge of the pool. I'm 245 pounds, remember. But I was a diver in high school. Muscle memory is a beautiful thing. I launched, I tucked, I executed a near-perfect backflip. Splash! I hit the water with the force of a falling piano. I made sure to aim for maximum displacement. A tidal wave of chlorinated water erupted, drenching Qley, Kyle, the clones, and their phones. I surfaced, slicking my hair back. I felt fantastic, weightless. I looked at the pool deck. Qley was standing there, mascara running, her perfectly straightened hair plastered to her skull. Kyle looked like a wet cat. But the best part? Tiffany. Tiffany had stood up. She wasn't wet. She was safely out of the splash zone, and she was slow clapping. I climbed out of the pool, dripping water, the neon trunks gleaming in the sun. Well, I said to Qley, I'm gonna head out. I think Kyle can give you a ride home. His suspension might handle your baggage better than my truck. Qley started to scream. You ruined everything. You childish idiot. You humiliated me. Then Tiffany stepped in. Tiffany walked up to the circle. She was wearing expensive jewelry and a look that could peel paint. She looked at Kyle. So, Tiffany said, her voice calm and terrifying, this is the crazy ex you told me was blocked? Kyle went pale. Babe, wait, she cornered me. I didn't. Tiffany held up a hand. Shut up, Kyle. I heard the pretend it's Brad comment, and I saw you flex. You're pathetic. She turned to Qley. Qley was trying to wipe water off her phone, shivering. And you, Tiffany said, looking Qley up and down like she was a stain on the rug. You can have him. But just so you know, the Porsche is leased in my name. The house is in my trust, and Kyle has a credit limit of $500 on my card. Tiffany turned to me. Nice flip. You stuck the landing. Thanks, I said. Nice hat. Tiffany turned back to Kyle. I'm going to call the gate and have your access revoked. Don't come home. She walked away. A queen. I grabbed my bundle of clothes and my cooler. Mark, Qley screamed, realizing the boat was sinking and I was the only life raft. Wait, you can't leave me here. You have the keys. I looked at her. I looked at Kyle, who was currently trying to chase Tiffany while holding up his soaking wet shorts. Call an Uber, I said. Use the joint account. Oh, wait. I pulled out my phone and tapped the banking app. Card canceled. Try Venmo. I walked to my truck. I didn't look back, but I heard the chaos. I heard Qley sobbing. I heard the splash of someone else getting pushed into the pool. I pray it was Kyle. Update, the flying monkeys. I drove straight to a motel. I wasn't going home. I needed to decompress. About an hour later, the texts started. Not just from Qley, but from the clones. Text from Clone 1. You are disgusting. Leaving your wife stranded? That was abuse. She is crying in the Uber. You need to apologize and pay for her emotional damages. My reply. She told a party she pretends I'm her ex during sex. She grabbed another man's body. I have the video. Want me to post it and tag your husband? Radio silence. Then Qley's mom called. Mark, she's here. She's hysterical. How could you humiliate her like that? You abandoned her. Diane, I said, taking a bite of my burger. She abandoned the marriage when she put her hands on another man. She can stay with you. I'm changing the locks tomorrow. You can't do that. It's her house. Actually, Diane, I bought the house in 2016. We married in 2020. It's premarital asset. And since she abandoned the property tonight to chase a married man, I'm securing the premises. Have a good night. Update. The morning after, I went home this morning at 8 a.m. to pack a bag and get my tools. I expected Qley to be there, crying, begging, the usual cycle. She wasn't there, but her stuff was partially gone. It looked like a tornado hit the closet. I checked the Ring camera footage. At 2 a.m., a Honda Civic, her mom's, pulled up. Qley stumbled out, still wearing her wet pool party dress, looking absolutely wrecked. They spent an hour throwing random crap into garbage bags, makeup, shoes, her straightener. But here's the kicker. At 3:30 a.m., Kyle showed up. I watched the footage with a cup of coffee in my hand. Kyle was banging on my door. He looked rough, no shirt, still in the wet shorts. Qley, let me in. Tiff locked me out. My cards aren't working. My doorbell camera captured audio perfectly. Qley opened the door. She screamed, "Go away, Kyle. You told me you owned that house. You're a broke loser." Kyle screamed back, "You ruined my marriage. Tiff cut me off. I need a place to crash." "Not here," Qley yelled. "Mark is going to kill you if he finds you here. He's huge." Note, I am huge, and while I wouldn't kill him, I would definitely make him regret entering my zip code. Kyle kicked my azaleas and walked off into the night. Final status: I'm single. My lawyer, my cousin Vinny, yes, really, he's a shark, says the video evidence of her public admission that ex-touching is enough to fast-track the infidelity clause in our state. Qley is homeless. She's living in her childhood bedroom with her mom, who is already driving her crazy. Kyle is homeless and broke. Tiffany sent me a DM on Instagram this morning. It was a screenshot of Kyle's begging text to her, with the caption, "Trash took itself out, thanks for the assist." The video. Someone posted the flip. It has 50K views. The caption is, "Dad bod summer, 1 cheaters 0. I'm keeping the house, I'm keeping the truck, I'm keeping the dog." She didn't even ask about him. She wanted an aesthetic, she got a reality check. She wanted a man with abs, she got a broke guy with a spray tan. I'm gonna buy a recliner today. A big, ugly, comfortable leather one, and I'm gonna sit in it, drink a beer, and enjoy the silence. Backflip out.